We're here at the booth of Rijkswaterstaat, part of the Dutch government, the Department of Infrastructure and Water Management. So next to me is Joris. Joris, what does this part of the government do?
Well, we do a lot about infrastructure and water management, of course, that's why the name. And especially Rijkswaterstaat is responsible for managing all these infrastructures and also the North Sea, why we're here. We're working hard at the Offshore Expertise Centrum to build a complete infrastructure on the North Sea, so it's easier to get sensors and other stuff on there. So for ecology, but also for nautical radars and ships. So I'm working hard on these new transformation stations to see if we can get a lot of sensors on there. There's a big infrastructure there which we can use. So working also very hard for ecology to get a lot of sensors on this platform and also wind turbines at the moment.
Because if you fly in on Amsterdam, you see these huge wind farms on the North Sea. They're going to be bigger and bigger. Recently, last week, they said they'll build another 700 turbines, I believe. So what is the size of the wind farms that we're talking about here?
I don't know the size exactly, but the ones we have now are three relatively small ones, and we are really increasing in size more than tenfold, which is going to be built on the North Sea at the moment. Yeah. And we really want to do that manageable for ecosystems and also the shipping and the fishery. So that's very important to have these sensors on there.
Because what I learned that is interesting on this case is also that instead of all kinds of different stakeholders buying their own sensors and trying to get them placed somewhere, Rijkswaterstaat takes the coordinating role and the investment in the sensors on those platforms, and then is more like a data broker towards the different stakeholders.
Yes, that's true. So we want to combine all our powers with all the other corporations and get the best results on there. If we do it all separately, it costs a lot of money. You don't know if everything is working correctly, and combining our powers, it's much cheaper and also much quicker also.
Which is also the reason that despite the fact that you don't build wind farms, you're actually one of our customers for the avian radar. Where does the avian radar fit in this story?
Well, I'm the product manager for the ecological systems. It's very important to see what effect all these wind farms have on ecology. So it's also very important to have eyes on the North Sea, and we use the radars to have eyes on the birds which fly there daily, but also the migration routes. To get a good picture what's happening and what maybe the wind farms can cause on these birds, but also bats and other wildlife.
And how many radars do you have so far from us?
At the moment we have 3 operational radars, and 3 will be coming in the future on the next farms which are built at the moment.
Yeah, very cool. And your role is that you look at the ecology side of things. Do you interpret the radar data?
No, so we have different corporations like Waterberg Ecology, but also the universities which use our data to come up with models and analytics to see if there's an effect. And the most important one is the model, to see if there's a high peak in migration, and to also see if we have to shut down the windmills, the wind turbines, if there's huge amount of migration, and we're talking about more than 500 birds per hour coming over these wind farms.
So that's of course a really topic that has a lot of interest, to shutting down turbines in case of massive migration. But I've also heard it's not that easy. You can't just shut down a wind farm. The grid won't take it. That's where the model comes in?
Yes, so we have to predict 48 hours in response if there will be a migration, high peak in migration, because the net management, TenneT in this case, can't have that all the wind turbines shut down. Rotterdam or Amsterdam won't have power anymore. So 84 hours in advance we have to buy in other kinds of energy, so we don't have, so we have enough energy for you to see your football.
Yeah, which is important.
Which is important.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. And about the radar, what does the radar bring that other technologies don't bring? Why radar?
Well, as I said, we need eyes on the North Sea. It's a tough terrain. The radar is very used to these tough terrains, and just see and can really count the birds for us. And also really we have the fixed radars, which also have the vertical aspect. So we also see the height, which is very important, because if the migration just happens above the wind turbine, they can just pass. So it's very important to have the height of the birds in these cases.
Yeah.
And the radars
So I
provide
don't
us
know
with...
if it's on a turbine tipping height
Yes.
or not. Yeah. And why did you choose Robin Radar? Because this was an open tender. How did you come to choose Robin Radar?
Well, Robin Radar was the one with the best, and I think the only one with the height. So there were other companies which had the amount of birds, but we really needed the height to see if it's in turbine height.
Yeah.
And Robin Radar, with his vertical radar, could, can really provide us with that data which we needed. So.
Because there are two radars that are fused into one database. Yeah. And how do you perceive the cooperation with my team?
Well, it's a lot. We have a lot of challenges offshore, and I think we were working now, I think 5 years together, and we've seen a lot of challenges. But together with your team and my team, I think we did a great job getting these on this harsh environment and on these harsh places. We have different difficulties in connectivity, but also place, accessibility.
Yeah, it's not a place where you would easily go to and fix something on a radar, right?
No.
So it's super expensive to visit the radar. You have these clutter, the unwanted reflections from the ocean. So that's what you mean.
And
with a
that's
harsh
what we
environment.
work a lot together, and I think that's working great at the moment to come up with all these difficult challenges we face.
Yeah.
So I think that's going great.
No, well, thank you. And if people are watching this and they are in the process of looking at different technologies, and what kind of advice could you give them?
Well, it really depends on what you want to know. The radars are perfect in these conditions because you have ice at night, but also on these conditions where you can be the whole time. But if you really want to have specific information about species or other things, it's a little bit harder with radar. So it's really important what your question is to see if this radar fits your research or your question.
So it's mainly if you want to have long range situational awareness on where the birds are, then radar is great. If you want to do species recognition, you will need to combine it with other technologies. Yeah. And if somebody's looking and they want to reach out to you individually, not talk directly to Robin Radar, but to one of the users, can they contact you?
That's perfect.
Well then, thank you very much for the interview.
Yes, no problem.